Hey there, everybody, and welcome back to Utility Sports. And today we are covering round 2 of our NFL mock draft. Remember, we had just put out the first one on our channel for round 1. There'll be a card there for it right now. Make sure you go check that out if you haven't already. That'll lead into this round 2 here. And before we jump into it, if you guys are new, hit that subscribe button. We post so much NFL content, NBA content, even some NHL and MLB content. This is the place to be. This is where you're going to want to be for all things sports moving forward. Now, at pick 33, we're looking at the Jacksonville Jaguars. So far, they got their quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. They've also grabbed an offensive tackle. Which direction could they be looking to go now? They badly need to improve their secondary. I'm fully aware of that. Asante Samuel Jr. is an option. Eric Stokes also out here. However, I'm going to go with Trayvon Merrick. I believe he's the top safety in the class out of TCU. He comes in. The Jaguars badly need that. They need to improve over Wingard. Obviously, they moved away from Ronnie Harrison this past year. They badly need safety play. Trayvon Merrick comes in. He's going to be a starter day one. I like that selection for them at pick 33. Now for my New York Jets here. At pick 34, they've already addressed the offensive tackle spot, grabbing Penei Sewell second overall here, and also grabbed a cornerback, J.C. Horn, at pick 23. Now we get to build off of that a little bit. The QB situation is a little interesting. Obviously, they could end up flipping some of these assets for Deshaun Watson. Maybe they end up keeping Darnold. Maybe they move on from Darnold with a guy like Justin Fields. That's yet to be seen. However, with how this board's fallen, I'm looking at Rondale Moore as a real option. I'm also looking at the running back position. Travis Etienne is here. But ultimately, I'm going to go into that offensive line. I'm going to grab Trey Smith, and we're going to build this thing up here in New York. When the New York Jets were at their best 10 years ago, they had DeBrickashaw, Ferguson, Nick Mangold, and a strong offensive line, Damian Woody as well. The New York Jets need to get back to that point. They have a building block there, Mekhi Becton. If they grab Penei Sewell, you're looking at 2 franchise tackles. Now you need to address the interior of that offensive line. It's going to help spring holes for the run game. It's going to help protect Sam Darnold. I think that's a must for the New York Jets. Now Miami's selecting here. So far this draft, they've grabbed running back Najee Harris at pick 18 and also linebacker Micah Parsons. Which way could they go here now at pick 35? I think wide receiver is the big and obvious need. They get Rondale Moore, a guy with good speed, fits into what they really need to add onto that roster for Tua Tagovailoa to help him progress. I think that they're also a team that should really be watching for a Deshaun Watson trade. I think they are the best landing spot for Watson, actually, when you look at what they have, the assets that they can give up, and the direction of that franchise. Watson could come in, be the best spot for them, and really, propel that team moving forward. However, if they do keep their selections, Rondale Moore comes in, helps Tua Tagovailoa out a lot, and that team is going to be continuing to take the steps in the right direction. As a Jets fan, I'm seeing firsthand how good this Miami Dolphins team is turning out to be. Brian Flores has been a great coach there in Miami. At pick 36, now we have the Atlanta Falcons. They grabbed their franchise QB, the successor to Matt Ryan moving forward. Now they're going to have to build off that, and that is starting at the edge position. They're going to go with Jalen Phillips out of Miami. He's an athletic guy, a little raw, but I like what I saw out of him. He really took advantage of Gregory Rousseau opting out this year, propelled himself into a top 60 pick in the NFL draft, in my opinion, and he's going to stick right around here at pick 36. Atlanta's been badly needing to figure out that edge position. Remember, they spent so many picks on it with Vic Beasley, Takk McKinley. Now they get the right guy here with Jalen Phillips, someone who can be a physical run stopper, but also someone who can get after the QB off the edge. I really like this fit for them. Now we have Cincinnati at pick 37, and we had them go with a wide receiver in the first round. Now the board has fallen, and they still need to grab a tackle really badly. I'm actually going to go with Alex Leatherwood out of Alabama. Alabama's produced so many quality offensive linemen over the years, and Leatherwood, another big piece on why Alabama was so good this season. They protected Mac Jones all year long, let him sit in the pocket, gave him time to work. That's why we saw Devontae Smith have such a crazy year. That offensive front for Alabama does not get enough love each and every year. Alex Leatherwood, a big reason why this year. And Cincinnati grabs him at 37, protects their franchise QB, so they got him a wide receiver and now a tackle in the first 2 rounds. Really like that for Cincy. Now, Philadelphia at pick 38. This is a little bit of an interesting situation as well. Remember, they fired Doug Peterson, brought in a new head coach, Sirianni. They're going to have to figure out the direction they want to go. We had them go with a wide receiver here in the first round to help either Carson Wentz or Jalen Hurts develop moving forward, depending on which one it is. For Wentz, it's going to be a lot about restoring to what he was before his injury, his ACL tear. And for Hurts, it would be a very development-heavy path. He has to still get better. But now I think that they're going to have to balance out their football team a little bit, come back, grab someone on the defensive side of the ball, and who better than Asante Samuel Jr.? Obviously, Asante Samuel spent a good amount of his career there in Philadelphia. Eagles fans would love to see Asante Samuel Jr. come in. He's going to bring that playmaking ability in the secondary. They badly need cornerbacks, and he fits that need. He's part of that franchise through his father, and I think this is a great fit there in Philadelphia. Now at pick 39, we have the Detroit Lions. Obviously, Matthew Stafford sounds like he is going to be on his way out. Where are some trade destinations for him? We have not covered that yet on the channel. Let us know if that's something you're interested in. Also, let us know if there's a team mock you would like us to do. We did a Cleveland Brown ones yesterday. But now for the Detroit Lions here at 39, they got their franchise QB. Now it's going to be about getting a wide receiver for them. My issue with Detroit right now is Kenny Golladay is a free agent. Marvin Jones is a free agent. I really don't know who's going to be there. I think that there's a lot of question marks at this point. I think that they're going to go get Amon-Ra St. Brown. They've shown that they like their big red zone type targets. Amon-Ra St. Brown is that. He's also a really quality run blocker. I think they're going to build around DeAndre Swift. They're going to build up this offense. Amon-Ra St. Brown comes in out of USC. I like this fit for Detroit and also Amon-Ra St. Brown. At pick 40, we have the Carolina Panthers. And now this is another team with an interesting situation here. I had actually mocked Kyle Pitts to them in the first round. I think that would be a phenomenal fit. I think he comes in, really fills that position well. Now it's going to be about figuring out their quarterback situation long term. However, I don't really love any of the options here at this point. I think Kyle Trask is a little bit of a reach here at 40. I don't see him going this high despite a really good college season. I actually see Eric Stokes out of Georgia. They really badly missed James Bradbury there in Carolina this year. He had such a great season with the New York Giants. And now I just really think that the Carolina Panthers need to capitalize on their young defense, grab a cornerback. They also need to grab a linebacker at some point. That's another option here for them. However, I think Eric Stokes is the best selection for them at this point. Now with the Denver Broncos, when we saw them at their heyday, they were getting after the QB, they were covering well downfield, and they had elite linebacker play. They are doing any of those things right now. They need to go grab Dylan Moses out of Alabama, an athletic linebacker, someone who can go sideline to sideline, gives you a lot of different options. In the NFL, he's going to be a guy that can give you a lot of versatility as a linebacker. He's a little raw, still has to figure out the position, probably best suited to be a weak side linebacker early on. That'll work there, though, in Denver. Put him beside Josie Jewell. Let Jewell be the strong side linebacker. Moses can come in, make athletic plays. I like that a lot for Denver moving forward. At pick 42 now, we have the Dallas Cowboys. Grabbed a cornerback round one. I think they also badly need a safety and also an offensive tackle. That's where I'm actually going to go here at this point. I'm going to mock Liam Eichenberg to the Dallas Cowboys here. They grabbed their offensive tackle of the future, Tyron Smith. Obviously getting up there in age, a little bit of question mark if he's going to come back or not. They grab one here at pick 42. I like that a lot for them. They're splitting offense, defense. They have to improve in a lot of different areas, but they've already got some really nice pieces in place. It's just going to be about capitalizing on some of these draft picks. I think Liam Eichenberg is that guy for them at that tackle position. Now the New York Giants are here at pick 43, and they grabbed an electric dynamic wide receiver in the first round. Now it's going to be about coming back, grabbing some defense to help them out. Dave Gettleman will look in that direction, I feel. There's some edges here in case Leonard Williams doesn't come back. They'll have to monitor that situation. Obviously, by the draft, we will know what is going on with that. Also, some linebackers here to put next to Blake Martinez possibly, and the cornerback position. I'm actually going to go with Greg Newsome, the second out of Northwestern. I think he could come in, be that number 2 corner that they badly need. I had just mentioned, obviously, James Bradbury, his ability as a number 1 corner. They need to get a number 2 guy there. Newsome comes in, gives them that. I think that'll be really key for them in that division to compete. Dealing with Washington, obviously, Terry McLaurin's a problem. I expect Washington to add another wide receiver this offseason as well. Dallas has a huge collection of wide receivers that you have to deal with. And Philadelphia grabbed the first-round wide receiver. You need to have good cornerback play in almost every division, especially if you're the New York Giants. Now, another team that could really badly use a cornerback, that is the San Francisco 49ers. However, I don't necessarily know if I see them going that way with how the board has fallen. There's also some center guard options here. I think that is a real possibility. They need to improve over their left guard at this point. That is a real weak spot for them. And also the offensive tackle position. I'm actually going to go with Dylan Radins. I don't know if Trent Williams is going to be back. I'm going to grab the NDSU guy to protect the NDSU QB we mocked to them in the first round, Trey Lance. I see them going 2 NDSU guys. in round 1 and round 2 to get that chemistry there, the connection. They already know how to work around with each other. Lance can feel Radins, and he is very familiar with that. I think that both of them come to San Francisco here in this mock draft. I like that a lot for San Francisco. At pick 45, we have the Los Angeles Chargers. We grabbed them an offensive tackle in the first round, and that was the right pick for them. They need to really focus on improving that offensive line and protecting Justin Herbert. Herbert was so phenomenal his rookie season. However, my big takeaway was, wow, he had to throw a lot with pressure in his face. The Chargers should try and give him more time in the pocket, make him more comfortable, sustain less hits, and doing so will come through one way, and that'll be grabbing Landon Dickerson out of Alabama. Obviously, he got injured in the conference championship game for them. However, I think long term, he is the right selection for the Chargers. They're going to improve their tackle spot. They're going to improve their interior offensive line, and maybe a healthy Brian Bulaga back. That offensive line could come together really nicely there in front of Justin Herbert. I really like that selection for the Chargers here at pick 45. Now, again, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars with their 4th pick in the top 46. This team has a ton of assets. Urban Meyer has a lot to play with here this year. They're going to figure out a lot of different things to make this football team better. Cornerback, still another really big need. Took C.J. Henderson in the first round last year. I don't see them grabbing one quite yet at this point, though, although the UCF kid is very probable because they like to draft in-state. But I actually see them going tight end and grabbing Pat Freiermuth. He is the best tight end yet available. I really like what he could bring in for Jacksonville. He is a guy who's going to give them a little bit of run blocking, a vertical threat, someone who gives you a lot of different things at that tight end position of Penn State. I think that he comes in with Trevor Lawrence. They're going to be all about putting weapons around him, protecting him, and then slowly improving that defense. They've already got some nice pieces in place there in Jacksonville. Freiermuth is going to be another one of those nice pieces moving forward. At pick 47, now we have the New England Patriots, a team that needs to improve in a vast majority of areas. We saw that with Tom Brady there. We see that with Cam Newton there. They need to figure it out. And I'm actually going to mock them a QB here, Kyle Trask out of Florida. I think that they grabbed their franchise QB now at this point. I'm not sold that Trask can for sure be that franchise guy. However, I do see them trying to take and swing and hit on this pick with Kyle Trask, with what's on the board. I just don't think Cam Newton will be back. I don't look at Jarrett Stidham as a long-term option. I'm sure New England doesn't either. They would not have brought Cam Newton in if they did feel that way. Kyle Trask comes in. He had a great college season there, throwing to Kyle Pitts, throwing to Kadarius Toney at Florida. I think that there's a chance he could be a good NFL QB. New England's going to be the place. They're going to have to develop him, but I think that this could work out well for both sides. Now the Arizona Cardinals are on the clock, and I am going back to that cornerback position, and I am going to mock Aaron Robinson here to the Arizona Cardinals. They only have 2 corners under contract going into next season. Patrick Peterson is a big question mark with his age and situation there. Will he be back? I'm not sure. Aaron Robinson comes in, fills that need for them in Arizona. They grabbed an edge in the first round, get a cornerback here in round 2. They are looking much improved defensively with those acquisitions. Obviously, Kyler Murray's been so great. DeAndre Hopkins was a great acquisition for them. They need to improve that defense, though, and really round out the rest of that team. Another team here with the Las Vegas Raiders that really, really badly needs to improve that defense. They have needs on every single level of that defense. You see, we had mocked them an edge in the first round. That was Gregory Rousseau out of Miami, a raw prospect, someone who I think would really fit in there at Las Vegas, gives them an athlete. They need to improve the interior of that offensive line, though. I think their interior defensive front as well needs much improvement. Cornerback, still a big need for me, in my opinion. Linebacker, although they had spent money in free agency, is a need. And I really, really believe that safety is a big need for them. In fact, I believe it's their biggest. I see them going with Javon Holland out of Oregon. He's the best safety available yet at this point, in my opinion. He comes in. He's going to give you qualities at every single aspect of football that you need. Someone who can cover a bit, someone who can play in the box a bit. He's a well-rounded safety. Might not be elite at one thing, but Vegas needs just more good defensive players. I think Javon Holland can be that. Last year, they were playing a lot of cornerbacks at safety. That's not going to get it done in the NFL, especially when you're playing Patrick Mahomes 2 times a year, Justin Herbert 2 times a year, and you're in a quality division. That's just tough to get the job done there in Las Vegas. They need to focus on that defense, grab an edge, grab secondary members, and continue to build that up. Mike Mayock and John Gruden will get the job done this offseason, I believe. Now the Miami Dolphins here at pick 50. Remember, we had mocked them Najee Harris. They grabbed Rondale Moore this last selection and Micah Parsons at this point. They also could really use some offensive line help. I think offensive tackle is a really big need, and we have seen Tevin Jenkins here fall a little bit to pick 50. I am going to go ahead with him and grab him here now at this point. It's going to be about protecting Tua Tagovailoa. They could use another tackle there in Miami. He comes in. Also could look at them going interior offensive line possibly in the third round. Miami has quite a few holes. They need to improve their run game. They're going to do that by grabbing a better running back than Myles Gaskin. They're also going to do that by improving that offensive line. Tevin Jenkins is the selection out of Oklahoma State. At pick 51 now, we have the Washington football team, a team that is going to really be looking at the QB situation. I think Matthew Stafford would be a great option for them, possibly Sam Darnold if the Jets do go with a QB. That'll be a team to monitor at the QB situation. Here, I don't really think that there's one left that I would reach on if I was Washington. So now you look at that wide receiver spot. Is there a guy that maybe they'll fall in love with that they would like to grab? I don't really see it as much yet at this point. In fact, I see them going on the defensive side of the ball. I think that they're going to address their safety, maybe safety position, maybe improve over Cameron Curl. That is going to be Andre Cisco out of Syracuse. I think that he's going to be a guy that's going to continue to rise up boards. He's played very well at Syracuse in his career. I think that during the draft process, he's going to build up a little bit of stock, maybe get himself into a second-round pick, and I see him going here to Washington to improve that defense a little bit more. I know that they need some offensive help. I'm fully aware of that. However, with how the board's fallen, I think that their best course of action is grabbing the safety now at this spot. Chicago, very similar to Washington, needs that quarterback, needs that tackle. I actually went with an interior offensive lineman for them, Elijah Vera Tucker. I think that he is a great selection. He can play a little bit of tackle, can play a little bit of interior offensive line. So now I'm going to come back and I'm going to grab a true tackle for them as well, Walker Little out of Stanford. He was one of the highest recruits in his high school class. Didn't work out quite as well at Stanford as many had hoped for him, but I still think he's got legit tackle potential in the NFL. And worst case, he could kick into guard, could be a run blocking guard for you. I really like that potential there in Chicago as well. And that's the nice thing about grabbing Vera Tucker in the first round. Maybe you can come back, Walker Little, start him at tackle. If he doesn't work out, you kick him into guard, give Vera Tucker some opportunity at tackle. Vera Tucker has been so good this year at both tackle and guard. I feel very confident that he could get it done at either position in the NFL. Walker Little gives me more flexibility. I can switch the two of them around, make sure my offensive line is in place for whoever my next QB is going to be there in Chicago. Another team with a really big question mark at that quarterback position, the Indianapolis Colts. I think that they're the best situation for Matthew Stafford that he could land in. They have that offensive line built. Their defense is solid. I think that they're going to have to go with the cornerback, though, with how the board's fallen. I actually see Shaun Wade out of Ohio State. I think that they could really use a nickel corner, someone who can come in, play in the slot. Xavier Rhodes has played so well for them this year. I expect him to actually come back on another one-year deal in Indianapolis. I think GM Chris Ballard is going to get that done. It's going to be about improving that defense a little bit more, though. Shaun Wade deals with slot receiver as well. Remember, you're going to have to deal with Trevor Lawrence now in that division. Deshaun Watson, all eyes are on him as well. The Colts are a very built team. I like their front seven a lot. I think their cornerback room could improve just a little bit. I like their safety situation with Malik Hooker. I think that they just need to take slight steps forward. Shaun Wade is a guy who has high potential. I know he didn't absolutely wow his final season at Ohio State, struggled outside as an outside corner, but Indy doesn't need him to be that. They could put him on the inside where he's really meant to be, where his physical frame is best suited, and I like that at pick 53. Now the Tennessee Titans, a team that needed an edge. They grabbed one there. Interior defensive line, they say is a need. I don't know as much. Jeffrey Simmons is still young, coming back from that ACL. There are some nice players here. And wow, Jay Tufele has actually fallen a really long distance. I did not realize he was still on the board, actually. I maybe would have mocked him a little bit earlier myself, probably to Vegas, had I realized he was still on the board. So at this point, if he fell to pick 54, I think the Tennessee Titans would grab that. Mike Vrabel is going to continue to build up his defensive front. We know how important that is for defensive coordinators, defensive-minded coaches to build up that front four, really improve that front seven, and stop the run game. Jay Tufele, an athlete, someone who's going to come in at that nose tackle position, can play next to Jeffrey Simmons. I like this selection a lot for Tennessee, gives them more athleticism. They need to improve their defensive line. They need to get after the quarterback more, and Tufele is going to help them do that. Now the Seattle Seahawks here at pick 55. Remember, this is their first selection of the NFL draft. They had traded their first rounder this year and next year to the New York Jets for Jamal Adams. So now it's going to be really vital for them to hit on a selection here in the second round, and I think that they're going to have to go to edge to do so. I see them going with Jason Oweh out of Penn State with how the board's fallen. They need an athlete off the edge. Oweh is that guy. They need to get after the quarterback, very much like Tennessee. Seattle has struggled to do so. Tennessee and Seattle both played around with Jadeveon Clowney, tried to make it work, didn't really situate himself well in either spot. They're going to look at an edge as well. Tennessee found theirs in round 1. Seattle now finds theirs in round 2. Pick 56, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. They grabbed an offensive tackle in the first round. I know it says running back, but it's an offensive tackle that they grabbed in round 1. And I think here now they come back, grab a running back, and Travis Etienne has fallen quite a bit. My reasoning for that, he struggled in the Sugar Bowl, did not get any running lanes, and he just, quite frankly, took a step back in his final season there at Clemson. Went from averaging 7 yards a carry down to about 5 yards a carry. Just looked like less of a sure thing. When I had watched him after his junior year, really was sitting down looking at him, I thought, wow, this guy's going to be a for sure first-round pick. He decided to come back to Clemson, and he disappointed just a little bit. 56, I think, is the right range for him. Also, Javonte Williams, Michael Carter, 2 great running backs. I think it's very possible that those 2 guys could possibly go in round 2 as well. But with how the board's kind of fallen, I see Etienne being the second running back off the board now at pick 56. Pick 57, here we have the Los Angeles Rams. And they also, like the Seahawks, this is their first pick of the draft. They have their pick out to Jacksonville, obviously, for the Jalen Ramsey deal. So now they have to capitalize here, and I think offensive tackle is going to be a screaming point for them. And I actually see them going with, let's see if he is here. Maybe they moved him into interior offensive lineman. We will check that real quick. They do not have Daniel Falele. Okay, that is okay. Then we will go at the offensive tackle spot. We'll go with Jackson Carman out of Clemson. I like him as well. He protected Trevor Lawrence for the past few years. We see another Clemson Tiger go here at pick 57. And I think his upside, he might not be a true tackle, might have to kick into guard. However, he'll fit into that Sean McVay offense. Obviously very zone run heavy, likes to get out and move, play action based. I think he's a good selection here in Los Angeles. Very similar system to what we see Dabo Swinney running in Clemson. At pick 58, we have the Cleveland Browns on the clock. They grabbed an edge in the first round to put across from Myles Garrett. We have a mock draft for the Cleveland Browns, a team mock. That'll be a card right here for that as well. But for me, and if I'm the Cleveland Browns, I'm looking to improve my defense a little bit more, linebacker being one of those spots that I need to look. And I'm actually going to stay in state here with Pete Werner out of Ohio State. I really like what he could bring. I think he's a true linebacker that's going to be a field general, someone who diagnoses plays, pulls them out, makes plays when he has to. I think putting him next to Mac Jones really improves that defense there for Kevin Stefanski. Their offense was so good. They need to continue building that defense up. Pete Werner comes in, improves their front seven mightily. You remember, you have to deal with the Baltimore Ravens 2 times a year, the Pittsburgh Steelers, who just grabbed a running back 2 times a year, and also the Cincinnati Bengals, who are looking like they're trending in the right direction with Joe Burrow at their QB position. I think slowing down Mixon would be good for them as well. Pete Werner comes in and helps them do that. The Baltimore Ravens now at pick 59. They had went with a wide receiver in round 1, a very talented one at that. Now they need to go and address that defense. Matthew Judon being the guy that they really need to focus on replacing. And I'm actually going to go with Victor Dimukeje out of Duke. And my reasoning was he is a stand-up edge, a guy who can get off. He's athletic. He is a guy who's a little raw, needs to develop quite a bit, but I think he's exactly what Baltimore would be looking for on that defense. They have built so many guys that have a similar profile to Dimukeje. I think that he could come in, develop there. Judon wants $20 million a year. There's no way he gets that. I find it very, very unlikely he gets that from any NFL team. I don't see him coming back to Baltimore. Long-term, possibly on a 1-year deal, but Dimukeje gives them long-term replacement options. I really like his game. I think he's going to be a guy who can come in, develop very well in the NFL, and would be a perfect fit in Baltimore. Now at pick 60, we have the New Orleans Saints, who grabbed their new franchise QB in round 1, but they have to badly improve in a couple different areas on that defense. one of them being the linebacker spot. I'm going to go with Chaz Surratt out of UNC. I think he's going to be a really valuable piece for them there in New Orleans. They need to put a guy next to Demario Davis. Quan Alexander was supposed to be that dude. Torn Achilles. That is going to keep him out. I really do not find it likely he comes back to New Orleans as a Saint. Surratt comes in, fills that need at the other linebacker spot next to Demario Davis. The Saints are going to want to be competitive with or without Drew Brees. I think it's very likely that they could be competitive without him. Improving that defense is going to be one way that they stay on track here, building this team. And I like Surratt here in New Orleans. Now at pick 61, we have the Green Bay Packers, another team with a need at cornerback as well. We saw what happened to Kevin King in that NFC Conference Championship game. He got targeted. He got beat consistently. Ifeatu Melifonwu will be the pick here out of Syracuse. Obviously, Obi Melifonwu already in the NFL, a guy who is a combo safety corner hybrid. That's something we've seen Green Bay target in the past as well, guys who can play a few different positions in the secondary. I think Melifonwu is going to give them that versatility out of Syracuse. Obviously played with two quality safeties at Cuse, but I think he's a cornerback that could come in, be a legitimate number two a year from now. And I think that putting him next to Jair Alexander is going to be the improvement this team has to make after grabbing a wide receiver in round one. Pick 62 now, we have the Buffalo Bills, and they need a cornerback as well. We saw it in that AFC Conference Championship game. Just struggled a little bit against Kansas City. Remember, Kansas City has so many weapons. The Bills had such a great year. I don't want to rain on their parade at all. A very phenomenal team. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs trending in the right direction. They just need to continue building up that defense. I actually see Israel Mukuamu as the selection here for Buffalo. I think he could come in, fill that cornerback need, another number two cornerback. Tre'Davious White, a really good corner. I think he's one of the better ones in the game. I think he's very underrated. Mukuamu comes in as a Gamecock, gives them that option as a number two corner. I like that selection a lot for Buffalo. Now at pick 63, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the board. And there's some question marks at running back, in my opinion. I look and see that they drafted Keyshawn Vaughn last year. I think he's a solid running back option long-term. Ronald Jones is there. Leonard Fournette's on a one-year deal. I don't know if he's going to be back. I think that they could be really benefited by having a guy who can play physically, run through guys, also catch the ball in the backfield. That's Javonte Williams out of UNC. I see him going here. I really like his game a lot. He's a compact back, can run with power, can run with quickness, runs with speed, catches the ball in the backfield well, very fluid hips, and a guy who can change direction well. Him and Michael Carter are two of my favorite running backs in this class, actually. They're from the Tar Heels. Very unique that they've developed two really quality running backs for this draft class, and I would really like his fit there in Tampa. And now, with the final pick of the second round, we have the Kansas City Chiefs on the board. They need to grab a wide receiver badly. I think that their wide receiver position is lacking a little bit when you look at the depth of it. Obviously, Mecole Hardman stepped up a little bit this year as a receiver with Sammy Watkins missing so much time. Tyreek Hill is a great wide receiver, but I think that they could use another guy there. And I think that'll actually be Shi Smith. I know he's ranked very low right now, but the Gamecock has had a really wonderful Senior Bowl participants. He's been rising up boards as of late. I think he's going to be a guy that continues to grow, continues to rise up boards, especially when pro days come around. He's going to go here to the Kansas City Chiefs at pick 64. I hope you guys did enjoy this mock draft. It was a lot of fun to make for you guys. If you did, smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you are new here to Utility Sports. We post videos every single day, and we'll keep them coming right at you. We'll catch you guys in the next video.